system was switched on, providing 110 volts direct current, DC, initially to 59 customers in Lower Manhattan, 72, quickly growing to 508 customers with 10,164 lamps. The power station was decommissioned in 1895. 8 months earlier in January 1882, to demonstrate feasibility, Edison had switched on the 93 kilowatts first steam generating power station at Holborn Viaduct in London. This was a smaller 110 VDC supply system, eventually supplying 3,000 street lights and a number of nearby private dwellings, but was shut down in September 1886 as uneconomic, since he was unable to extend the premises. On the 19th of January 1883, the first standardized incandescent electric lighting system employing overhead wires began service in Roselle, New Jersey. War of currents. Extravagant displays of electric lights quickly became a feature of public events, as in this picture from the 1897 Tennessee Centennial Exposition. As Edison expanded his direct current, DC, power delivery system, he received stiff competition from companies installing alternating current, AC, systems. From the early 1880s, arc lighting systems for streets and large spaces had been an expanding business in the U.S. With the development of transformers in Europe and by Westinghouse Electric in the U.S. in 1885-1886, it became possible to transmit AC long distances over thinner and cheaper wires, and step down, reduce, the voltage at the destination for distribution to users. This allowed AC to be used in street lighting and in lighting for small business and domestic customers. The market Edison's patented low-voltage DC incandescent lamp system was designed to supply. 73. Edison's DC empire suffered from one of its chief drawbacks. It was suitable only for the high density of customers found in large cities. Edison's DC plants could not deliver electricity to customers more than 1 mile from the plant, and left a patchwork of unsupplied customers between plants. Small cities and rural areas could not afford an Edison-style system at all, leaving a large part of the market without electrical service. AC companies expanded into this gap. Edison expressed views that AC was unworkable and the high voltages used were dangerous. As George Westinghouse installed his first AC systems in 1886, Thomas Edison struck out personally against his chief rival, stating, "Just as certain as death, Westinghouse will kill a customer within 6 months after he puts in a system of any size. He has got a new thing and it will require a great deal of experimenting to get it working practically." 74. Many reasons have been suggested for Edison's anti-AC stance. One notion is that the inventor could not grasp the more abstract theories behind AC and was trying to avoid developing a system he did not understand. Edison also appeared to have been worried about the high voltage from his installed AC systems killing customers and hurting the sales of electric power systems in general. 75. The primary reason was that Edison Electric based their design on low-voltage DC, and switching a standard after they had installed over 100 systems was, in Edison's mind, out of the question. By the end of 1887, Edison Electric was losing market share to Westinghouse, who had built 68 AC-based power stations to Edison's 121 DC-based stations. To make matters worse for Edison, the Thomson-Houston Electric Company of Lynn, Massachusetts, another AC-based competitor, built 22 power stations. 76. Parallel to expanding competition between Edison and the AC companies was rising public furor over a series of deaths in the spring of 1888 caused by pole-mounted high-voltage alternating current lines. This turned into a media frenzy against high-voltage alternating current and the seemingly greedy and callous lighting companies that used it. 77, 78. Edison took advantage of the public perception of AC as dangerous and joined with self-styled New York anti-AC crusader Harold P. Brown in a propaganda campaign, aiding Brown in the public electrocution of animals with AC, and supported legislation to control and severely limit AC installations and voltages, to the point of making it an ineffective power delivery system, in what was now being referred to as a battle of currents. The development of the electric chair was used in an attempt to portray AC as having a greater lethal potential than DC and smear Westinghouse at the same time via Edison colluding with Brown and Westinghouse's chief AC rival, the Thomson-Houston Electric Company, to make sure the first electric chair was powered by a Westinghouse AC generator. Thomas Edison's staunch anti-AC tactics were not sitting well with his own stockholders. By the early 1890s, Edison's company was generating much smaller profits than its AC rivals, and the war of currents would come to an end in 1892 with Edison forced out of controlling his own company. That year, financier J.P. Morgan engineered a merger of Edison General Electric with Thomson-Houston that put the board of Thomson-Houston in charge of the new company called General Electric. General Electric now controlled 3/4 of the U.S. electrical business and would compete with Westinghouse for the AC market. 7980. Edison served as a figurehead on the company's board of directors for a few years before selling his shares. 81. West Orange and Fort Myers, 1886-1931. Thomas Edison Industries Exhibit Primary Battery Section. 1915. Edison moved from Menlo Park after the death of his first wife Mary, in 1884, and purchased a home known as Glenmont in 1886 as a wedding gift for his second wife, Mina, in Llewellyn Park in West Orange, New Jersey. In 1885, Thomas Edison bought 13 acres of property in Fort Myers, Florida, for roughly $2,750, equivalent to $89,569 in 2022, and built what was later called Seminole Lodge as a winter retreat. 82. The main house and guest house are representative of Italianate architecture and Queen Anne style architecture. The building materials were pre-cut in New England by the Kennebec Framing Company and the Stephen Nye Lumber Company of Fairfield, Maine. The materials were then shipped down by boat and were constructed at a cost of $12,000 each, which included the cost of interior furnishings. 83. Edison and Mina spent many winters at their home in Fort Myers, and Edison tried to find a domestic source of natural rubber. 84. Due to the security concerns around World War I, Edison suggested forming a Science and Industry Committee to provide advice and research to the U.S. military, and he headed the Naval Consulting Board in 1915. 85. Edison became concerned with America's reliance on foreign supply of rubber and was determined to find a native supply of rubber. Edison's work on rubber took place largely at his research laboratory in Fort Myers, which has been designated as a National Historic Chemical Landmark. 86. The laboratory was built after Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Harvey S. Firestone pooled together $75,000 to form the Edison Botanical Research Corporation. Initially, only Ford and Firestone were to contribute funds to the project, while Edison did all the research. Edison, however, wished to contribute $25,000 as well. Edison did the majority of the research and planting, sending results and sample rubber residues to his West Orange lab. Edison employed a two-part acid-base extraction to derive latex from the plant material after it was dried and crushed to a powder. 87. After testing 17,000 plant samples, he eventually found an adequate source in the goldenrod plant. Edison decided on Solidago leavenworthii, also known as Leavenworth's goldenrod. The plant, which normally grows roughly 3-4 feet tall with a 5% latex yield, was adapted by Edison through crossbreeding to produce plants twice the size and with a latex yield of 12%. 88. During the 1911 New York Electrical Show, Edison told representatives of the copper industry it was a shame he did not have a chunk of it. The representatives decided to give a cubic foot of solid copper weighing 486 pounds with their gratitude inscribed on it in appreciation for his part in the continuous stimulation in the copper industry. 89, 90, 91, other inventions and projects. Fluoroscopy. Edison is credited with designing and producing the first commercially available fluoroscope, a machine that uses X-rays to take radiographs. Until Edison discovered that calcium tungstate fluoroscopy screens produced brighter images than the barium platinocyanide screens originally used by Wilhelm Röntgen, the technology was capable of producing only very faint images. The fundamental design of Edison's fluoroscope is still in use today, although Edison abandoned the project after nearly losing his own eyesight and seriously injuring his assistant, Clarence Daly. Daly made himself an enthusiastic human guinea pig for the fluoroscopy project and was exposed to a poisonous dose of radiation. He later died, at the age of 39, of injuries related to the exposure, including mediastinal cancer. 92. In 1903, a shaken Edison said, "Don't talk to me about X-rays, I am afraid of them." 93. Nonetheless, his work was important in the development of a technology still used today. 94. Tessimeter. Edison invented a highly sensitive device that he named the tessimeter, which measured infrared radiation. His impetus for its creation was the desire to measure the heat from the solar corona during the total solar eclipse of the 29th of July, 1878. The device was not patented since Edison could find no practical mass-market application for it. 95. Telegraph improvements. The key to Edison's initial reputation and success was his work in the field of telegraphy. With knowledge gained from years of working as a telegraph operator, he learned the basics of electricity. This, together with his studies in chemistry at the Cooper Union, allowed him to make his early fortune with the stock ticker, the first electricity-based broadcast system. 1819. His innovations also included the development of quadruplex, the first system which could simultaneously transmit 4 messages through a single wire. 96. Motion pictures. Edison was granted a patent for a motion picture camera, labeled the kinetograph. He did the electromechanical design while his employee William Kennedy Dixon, a photographer, worked on the photographic and optical development. Much of the credit for the invention belongs to Dixon. 53. In the June 1894 Leonard Cushing bout, each of the 6 1-minute rounds recorded by the kinetoscope was made available to exhibitors for $22.50. 97. Customers who watch it final round saw Leonard score a knockdown. 1891. Thomas Edison built a kinetoscope or peephole viewer. This device was installed in penny arcades, where people could watch short, simple films. The kinetograph and kinetoscope were both first publicly exhibited the 20th of May, 1891. 98. In April 1896, Thomas Armat's Vitascope, manufactured by the Edison factory and marketed in Edison's name, was used to project motion pictures in public screenings in New York City. Later, he exhibited motion pictures with voice soundtrack on cylinder recordings, mechanically synchronized with the film. Officially, the kinetoscope entered Europe when wealthy American businessman Irving T. Bush, 1869-1948, bought from the Continental Commerce Company of Frank Z. McGuire and Joseph D. Baucus a dozen machines. Bush placed from the 17th of October, 1894 the first kinetoscopes in London. At the same time, the French company Kinetoscope Edison Michelet Alexis Werner bought these machines for the market in France. In the last 3 months of 1894, the Continental Commerce Company sold hundreds of kinetoscopes in Europe, i.e. the Netherlands and Italy. In Germany and in Austria-Hungary, the kinetoscope was introduced by the Deutsche Österreichische Edison Kinetoscope Gesellschaft, founded by the Ludwig Stahlwerk, 99, of the Skokaladen Susware and Fabrik Stahl